Yeah. Sometimes I get so mad, there's no controlling me. My thoughts get so bad, I'm like, I might grab a bat, I don't know. My wrath, my blood boils over like, oh God, here goes. I lost all feeling from my head to my toes. You said some shit that I can't let go, so just stay tuned for the rest of the show. So have you ever felt betrayed? Switches how you see things, realize something needs change. Cause I know you got me fucked up, let me show you what's up. Cause enough is enough. I'll take a face full of pavement just to make a statement. I know there's no turning back. Oh God, adrenaline wasted, so mad I can taste it. I know there's no turning back. I'll do what it takes, I ain't making mistakes like that. I'll put it on your face just to make you go take it.
Hey y'all, I forgot to turn my volume off on my phone. I hope you're having a good day, all of you on the East Coast. Gosh, it's so late for you over there. What is it, 4 o'clock? It's 1 o'clock in the afternoon over here. I slept late. Let me tell you, I slept late. So we had some trials coming up, you guys. We have trials coming up. I have them all wrote down on my little handy dandy notebook here. So we all know that we have Chad Daybell April 1st. April 1st, yes. There's absolutely no way in hell am I missing this trial. Then May 13th, we're going to finally have a Richard Allen trial, you guys. So I was figuring out Chad's the first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks would be the start of Richard Allen. Hey, Dougie's. So 6 weeks after Chad starts, Richard Allen starts. And then, of course, we have a couple of months after that. However, there is a trial in July. Is it Chad Doerman? Let me look. Yes, Chad Doerman is July of this year. However, I don't know this exact date. So we have Chad in April. We have Richard Allen in May. We have Chad Doerman in July. And we have Lori Vallow in August. We're going to be busy, folks. We are going to be busy because, you know, I am really excited about these. I can't close my little handy dandy notebook. We've been waiting for these trials. So the first story that we're going to go through is, and I wasn't even going to do Richard Allen today. I was just going to do the rest of them until I woke up and saw that, you know, when his trial was and how they were talking about it and stuff. So I decided that we're going to talk about it too. But first, we're going to talk about Chad Doerman. Everyone knows Chad Doerman executed his 3 sons. And now he wants evidence thrown out. Evidently, his rights were violated. Privacy rights, Miranda HIPAA rights. Evidently, the judge has to decide on if his rights were indeed violated. In which we all saw the body cam footage of him getting arrested, right? Same plain as day. He said, I did it. My dog's not going to attack you. Let me up. I'm going to work with you guys. Remember that body cam footage we saw?
Big day in Claremont County Court as Chad Doerman's attorneys ask a judge to toss out key evidence.
Now, Doerman, of course, accused of killing his 3 sons last summer. And in the hours and days following, the defense claims law enforcement unlawfully questioned and recorded him. WCPO 9 News reporter Valerie Lyons is live in Batavia. No decision from the judge today, Val.
No, Tanya, he said there's still a lot to consider before he can decide. That is, whether to allow Doerman's statements as evidence in the trial. You see, prosecutors say he should, that law enforcement followed the books. But the defense is arguing, no, he didn't.
You did not read all the Miranda rights.
Chad Doerman's attorneys didn't let up.
You left out some pretty important parts, didn't you?
Drilling this Claremont County detective Wednesday. The defense claims he repeatedly ignored Doerman's request for a lawyer, interviewing him for nearly 3 hours anyway.
Getting into those hard questions, and he says,
In case you weren't aware, I do have the video. It's like the first video that comes up when you click on my channel. That is Chad getting booked into jail. So I do have that video if you would like to watch that one.
what I thought was, who's Laura? And I'm confused. And then he says the lawyer, and no idea what he's talking about. So I said, I don't know, you tell me.
So you didn't think that was a reference of him again saying, hey, where's this lawyer we were talking about a while back?
This line of questioning was part of a 4-hour hearing. Doerman is accused of killing his 3 young sons last summer, and as his trial nears, his attorneys want some of his statements left out of it.
These recordings speaking, we trust loud and clearly that his right to a lawyer was violated.
Prosecutors argue Doerman understood his rights and decided to talk anyway. That his alleged requests for counsel were vague and confusing, but the defense was quick to push back.
He looked very well content in there. He looked very well content in the whole body cam footage that we saw. Even with him getting booked, except for him banging his head on the wall one time.
Why not say, hey, I'm not clear here. Do you want a lawyer or not? Should we get you a lawyer? Why don't you do that?
I don't know why I didn't say that. I explored it the way that I felt was appropriate.
Doerman's attorneys also suggest investigators intimidated Doerman during his arrest, pointing to comments made by the first responding deputies.
I told him to shut up. And also during that, I told him he had the right to remain silent and use it.
But that wasn't all. The defense also honed in on something a detective said that day, too.
Did Detective Schubert say anything else to you?
He said, shut the door before I kill him.
You heard what he said.
Yes, sir.
That's to seem uncommon to you a little bit. He was agitated.
I'd say so, or at least upset.
Now, Doerman's attorneys also argue conversations between Doerman and medical staff were recorded when they should have been private, violating his HIPAA rights. The judge says he expects to deliver his written decision within a month, and this trial is still set to start this summer. For now, live in Batavia, Valerie Lyons, WCPO 9 News.
Okay. No audio. Thank you for texting me, Ashley. So I don't know if you heard me, but Major John Kaylor took a plea deal for the quadruple homicide that he committed. His plea deal was life, minimum of 10 years, 4 counts of murder, 2. One count was dropped, which I think was like a criminal trespassing or a maybe, I don't think it was a burglary charge. Dang nabbit sakes alive. Let me see if I wrote it down. Chad Doerman. No, privacy Miranda HIPAA rights of Chad Doerman and heard a motion to exclude alleged confession trial July. That's all I wrote down. Oh, this is Major John. Never mind. Dead guilty of 4 counts of murder of his neighbors. Took plea life minimum 10. No, I didn't write it down. But yeah, he's going to get life with a minimum of 10 years for killing 4 of his neighbors. But I just went through the whole spiel and evidently was on mute. Thank y'all, because I wasn't looking at StreamYard. He unalived his 4 neighbors because the 18-year-old was pleasuring himself in front of an open window while Major John Kaylor's wife and children were out playing in the yard. Called the law enforcement. Evidently, they didn't work fast enough for him, so he took it upon himself to unalive the whole family. Kaz, I was just talking about you. I was like, we probably won't see her. I was thinking about you earlier. What are you going to do for trials, Kaz? It's going to be early in the morning trials, not like Lori Vallow, because Chad's going to be streamed. So we're going to have to figure that out, Kaz, with your time zone. So there it is. Major John Kaylor pled guilty. Major John Kaylor and Kellogg pled guilty to 4 counts of murder, 2, life with minimum of 10 years. I think that he would really get parole in 10 years. I honestly do. You know, this was one case where it was like, you know, it just happened last summer, so it's just not even a whole year fresh. He's going to trial within a year of it happening, and the motions were normal. It wasn't like none of this a million motions that everybody else is filing to, you know, get everything dropped and do this and that. He's just like, yes, I did it. Y'all know I did it. Just let me do my time, and that's just the bottom line. Now we're moving on to Chad Daybell. I hear something about he wants Rob Woods, who is the prosecutor, to be a witness. I'm going to have to look more into that. Chad's last, it was a closed hearing. I'm waiting for the video to load, but that's his last. That was his last hearing before trial. Chad Daybell is due back in court Friday, March 8th, 7 a.m. for this time behind closed doors before his trial
Universe
starts.
is trying to tell you something?
Chad is due back in court tomorrow at 11 a.m. for a remote hearing, this time behind closed doors before his trial starts in Boise on April 1st. Now, according to court documents, one motion is to challenge the state's motion to squash a subpoena, as well as a motion to exclude Dr. Davidson as an expert witness. The third motion is requesting to exclude a recording of Summer Shiflett, Lori Vallow Daybell's sister, as well as prosecutor Robert Wood as a witness during Lori's trial.
Daybell is charged with 3 counts of first-degree murder in the deaths of his wife, Tammy Daybell, and J.J. Vallow and Tylee Ryan, the 2 children of his current wife, Lori, plus 1 count of conspiracy to commit murder, 2 counts of conspiracy, and 2 counts of insurance fraud. Daybell could face the possible death penalty if convicted.
Yep, y'all. I'm typing in chat because the video was playing. It's gonna be streamed by Court TV and Judge Stephen Boyce's YouTube channel. You guys, I know this poor judge is so ready to get this over with. He had to do Lori, and now his last one is Chad in this sickening case that we have. Hey, Millie. Of course, Chad's facing the death penalty. Bang, bang. What is it? What is it that came back to Idaho? The firing squad? What is it, Chad? You like to kill in the middle of the day with your pew-pew? What is it? Was it a raccoon or something like? Yeah. Okay, so you can get pew-pewed to hell. As far as I'm concerned, I can't stand you. Next one is, I believe, Lori's dates. Yes. This is the dates for Lori in Maricopa County, state of Arizona. The prosecutor is Trina Kay, and her attorney is Keith Terry. I do believe they put the last names first. So she's facing murder in the first degree. It has her case numbers. This is all of the I'm pointing to my screen like you can see my finger pointing. This is all her past dates that she had. And then we get down to here. We know that her trial was supposed to be April 4th, however, cannot overlap Chad as they both have some same witnesses and experts. So since Chad starts April 1st, Lori will start now again August 1st, 9 a.m. And she has a pretrial conference July 25th of this year, and then her trial. So we're excited for that, you guys, because you know that I will be going up there. It is 2 hours away. I will be going up there for the trial, and I am so excited. It's going to be my first big trial that I go to, and it's got to be, of course, Lori Vallow, because that's what really got me into the true crime community. So here we go. Miss Sarah Boone. She's on what? Her 7th attorney? And now she has another judge, a woman judge, I do believe. And I guess she's going to try to manipulate this judge too, because we know that she's already written letters to the judge, to the new judge. I think they're going to try to expedite this girl's trial. I really hope they do, because I'm tired of seeing her face. This is close to me because it has to do with domestic violence.
Sarah Boone faces charges after investigators say she murdered her boyfriend by leaving him zipped up in a suitcase. Police arrested her 4 years ago, and she was in court this morning to ask that her case quickly move forward. West 2's Bob Hazen was in the courtroom where the judge gave Boone another lawyer.
Sarah Boone's been through a lot of lawyers. In fact, this is now her 7th attorney. Her last one saying that she wanted him to do things that he wouldn't do.
I've been here for 4 years and I'm tired of being here, and I'm tired of going through all of these attorneys, which are not my fault.
Sarah Boone is getting another chance to find the right lawyer to defend her in this bizarre case. In 2020, investigators say she left her boyfriend, George Torres Jr., zipped up in a suitcase after a game of hide and seek, and recorded him begging for help.
So I can't.
Breathe, babe. Where is he? Yeah, that's when you do and you choke me.
Boone allegedly went to bed and then found him dead in the suitcase the next day. Since then, Boone's trial has been delayed repeatedly as she gets into conflicts with her lawyers, something the judge in her case noted.
Seemingly all of your relationships with counsel have deteriorated.
Boone often writes letters to the judges complaining about her lawyers. Attorney Winston Hobson was appointed back in September, but asked the judge to let him withdraw, saying they're at loggerheads and she makes difficult demands.
I would say Ms. Boone has some ideas about what should be done, should not be done. I don't agree with those. Some things she wants done, I won't do.
But when 100 days have passed and I haven't heard or said or done anything other than try to figure out where you are because your phone doesn't work, I'm not a bad person because of that.
The judge gave Boone a new lawyer, but did not push back the trial, which is currently set to start in May. At the Orange County Courthouse, Bob Hazen, West 2 News.
Is she really going to try to get this new woman judge to feel sorry for her? Nothing is her fault. Nothing at all. She just abuses her lawyers. God dang, we thought shit business over there attacked her attorney. At least she only went through 2. Okay? This woman has gone through 7. I wonder if anyone has ever gone through that many attorneys. Ever. And then the poor attorneys are like, yo, judge, she needs to just defend herself. That's the bottom line. Which is really what we all want to see, but isn't going to happen. But now we're going to move on to Adam Fravel. I have a friend whose last name is spelled like that, and they pronounce it Fravel. So that's why I keep mispronouncing it, but I do believe they pronounce it Fravel. We'll see what's happening with him, because of course he's asking for stuff as well.
New court filings in the case of a southern Minnesota man charged with killing the mother of his children.
Hannah Flood is in our live center with these new developments in the Maddie Kingsbury case. Hannah, good morning.
Good morning. These new court documents reveal Adam Fravel, the man accused of killing Madeline Kingsbury, who wants his first-degree murder charge against him thrown out. His lawyers argue there's not enough evidence for him to be tried on that charge. Now, they're not disputing the other charges against him, which includes second-degree murder without premeditation and second-degree murder while committing a felony. Other filings show Fravel's legal team is trying to move the case out of Winona County because they say of extensive media coverage and community interest. Finally, there's a motion to suppress some evidence and testimony. The lawyers for Fravel want data from a phone number and a statement Fravel made to police thrown out. Now, Fravel is scheduled to be back in court in March. It's a case, of course, we'll continue to follow and keep you updated on. Tom and Kelly.
Play the rock, paper, scissors.
Y'all, I give up today. I tell y'all, I just woke up. The video basically said everything. Why, what he wants dismissed, why he wants it moved out of Winona County, and then we have a little remembrance video for Madeline that I want to show. Hey, Markella.
Come play Sweeping Up the Cash this March at.
Why is everything about gambling? You can win this. Yeah, okay.
Her life was cut short in a most wicked way, but it will be remembered as oh so full.
Maddie Kingsbury's family and friends reflecting on her life and her death at a memorial in Winona. It was that community that came together to help find Maddie and bring her home.
And now they are together again, but this time they are remembering her life and all the lives that she touched. Fox 9's Babs Santos is in Winona with how she's being remembered. Babs?
Yeah, today our camera stayed outside out of respect to Maddie's family, but inside, a live stream captured a lot of emotion.
The path to healing will be long and twisted. The destination seemingly out of reach.
On the campus of Winona State University, family, friends, and strangers from across southern Minnesota gathered one last time. For more than 2 months, they've come together in the search for Maddie Kingsbury, a local mother of two who vanished in late March. But after the discovery of Maddie's body in early June and the subsequent arrest of Adam Fravel, the father of Maddie's two children, on Sunday, the community gathered again, not to search, but to mourn.
Rightfully so, we are angry and hurt, and at times bereft of any feelings at all. We now only recently have been able to try and grieve and someday heal, and it will take a long time. That's okay. It's important that we don't let these feelings overshadow what an absolute gift she was.
Sunday's grieving process included reading poetry, praying, singing, and remembering all of the good about the way Maddie lived her life before her sudden death.
Madeline is no longer alone, and she's no longer suffering. Madeline's spirit will live on in her children, her family and friends, and in the community here in Winona that she loved so much. We will forever remain loud for Madeline.
Kingsbury leaves behind a 5-year-old daughter and 2-year-old son in a community that's promising to look after them.
With her being taken so much before her time, we will all take on the task of nurturing, encouraging, shielding, and loving her children.
And just a few days ago, Maddie's father wrote in part on Facebook, "My daughter and my family are not the only victims. The entire community is as well." That message really summing up today's memorial. Live in Winona, Babs Santos, Fox 9.
All right, thank you, Babs.
At Grand Casino, some of the best perks are for our Club 55 guests. Enjoy the chance at winning up to $555.
I'm not muting myself anymore. I keep playing with this thing on the headphones, and it's a mute button. It's a mute button. Her and her parents were charged with one count each of unauthorized access of a computer system, or electronic device. Courtney's also facing that charge. They want the laptops of the parents, and the defense is like, no. There's private communications between the attorney and the client on these devices. You know, you're not getting them. But the prosecutor says there could be important evidence on the cloud, like Courtney's dad, Kim, asking her if she knew the password. But at the end of the hearing, the judge didn't make a decision on the motion or several others that are still pending. So we will have to see what happens with her parents with these charges. And then, of course, Courtney, who's just, she don't look like OnlyFans model anymore. And then we're going to talk about Elijah Vu. As soon as this video loads, I have Elijah Vu and Richard Allen left. Okay. That's sweet. Hello. This one's on Elijah Vu, and the mom just needs to be under the jail.
Police say searches conducted at the landfill are now complete. The searches took place on the West Twin River by the DNR. As those search efforts continue, Fox 11 is digging deeper into the criminal complaint that lays out the days leading up to the toddler's disappearance. Fox 11's Emily Matasic walks us through that timeline.
We have now changed count 1 to chronic neglect as party to the crime.
Elijah Vu's mother, Katrina Bauer, wiped away tears as Manitowoc County District Attorney Jacqueline Labrie announced additional child neglect charges are being filed against her.
We have also added the count 4, which involves neglect to another child who is 6 years old from February 14th.
According to court documents, Katrina Bauer's cell phone records have her arriving at Jesse Vang's apartment in Two Rivers just before 2:30 a.m. on February 14th. That's 2 days after she gave Elijah Vu to Jesse Vang so he could teach him how to be a man. In the car with her that morning, the criminal complaint says, is her 6-year-old daughter. Bauer exchanging text messages with Vang about leaving her daughter in the car while she comes into the apartment for sex. Then at 3:13 a.m., with her daughter alone in the car outside in temperatures ranging from 36 to 27 degrees, court documents say a photo of Elijah Vu was taken on Bauer's phone inside Jesse Vang's apartment. The criminal complaint says the picture, which was deleted about an hour after it was taken, showed Elijah Vu laying on a bed, blindfolded. It also appeared he had bruising on his jawline, the left side of his neck, and on the upper part of his left arm. Bauer's cell phone records have her leaving Two Rivers at about 4:30 in the morning on February 14th, but they also show she returned to Manitowoc County 2 days later. Before her return late at night on February 16th, we know after speaking with the owner of Ross Auto Service in Two Rivers, who also shared surveillance camera pictures with us, Jesse Vang brought Elijah Vu into his shop that morning. The shop owner saying Vu was quiet but didn't seem to be in distress. Later that night, court documents show Katrina Bauer returned to Manitowoc before arriving at Vang's Two Rivers apartment just after midnight on February 17th. Cell phone data tracking the two to Manitowoc, where they split up for a bit before returning to Vang's apartment together. Bauer telling authorities she saw her son on Vang's couch, but he was tired, adding she left Two Rivers early on the morning of February 17th. Then on February 18th, Vang and Bauer exchanged text messages. Vang telling Bauer to, quote, trust me, I'ma make sure he hates me and being here. Bauer responds, don't want him to hate you, just fear you. Jesse Vang later saying via text, quote, he did fear me, but he didn't respect me. Now I'm making him respect me. 2 days later, Jesse Vang reported Elijah Vu missing. Authorities saying they've been unable to find anyone other than Vang or Bauer who cared for Elijah on February 16th and 17th. Police asking people to review surveillance cameras for footage from February 19th between 2 and 9 p.m. of this 1997 four-door Nissan Altima, beige in color with Wisconsin license plate beginning with an A and ending with a 0. While authorities have said Bauer and Vang are not the owners of the car, they haven't said why they're looking to track its whereabouts. The two not offering any information to authorities about where Elijah Vu may be. Katrina Bauer's attorney saying her client is distraught about her missing son.
There's a lot of high emotion going on, but there's also high emotion going on with Miss Bauer. She's been worried sick, not knowing where her son is.
The district attorney disputing that claim when talking about Bauer's involvement with Jesse Vang the day her son was reported missing.
She also was encouraging the co-actor not to cooperate with law enforcement. On February 20th, she was messaging the co-actor to not say too much. Don't let them, or no, don't talk, ask for an attorney.
All of this while volunteers continue to hold out hope they'll find this little boy. Emily Matesic, Fox 11 News.
Both Bauer and Vang are scheduled to be back in court on March 15th. And you can read the full criminal complaint against Katrina Bauer, as well as Bauer and Jesse Vang's Thursday court appearances on our website. You can find that at fox11online.com.
Good evening, and thanks for joining us tonight. Today marks 18 days since an Amber Alert was issued for 3-year-old Elijah Vu, last seen in Two Rivers. Search efforts continue, but still no sign of the little boy. For the first time, volunteers searched in the Green Bay area today. They largely focused on the Baird Creek trails on the city's east side. Law enforcement was not involved in organizing or taking part in the search. About 50 people participated. One organizer says no one should be giving up hope.
Anywhere we can search is where we should search. Everywhere, every city should be searching at this point. He could be anywhere.
Two Rivers Police did not post any new updates today. The one for yesterday continues to encourage people to check surveillance footage from 2 to 9 p.m. on February 19th. Look for a beige 1997 Nissan Altima with a license plate starting in A and ending in O. Police remind the public that no tip or bit of information is too small. Anyone who may have seen Elijah or knows where he is urged to call the number on your screen, 844-267-6648. And tonight near Wisconsin Dells,
Oh,
people
look how
gathered for a
cute.
vigil for Vu. Balloons, candles, and pictures were placed at a tree where neighbors say Vu played. Vu lived in Wisconsin Dells with his mother, Katrina Bauer. Police have said Vu was in Two Rivers for the week with Bauer's boyfriend when he disappeared. Both the mother and the boyfriend are in jail on child neglect charges.
Good evening, and thanks for joining us tonight. For the past 20 days, we've been telling you about the ongoing search efforts to find 3-year-old Elijah Vu, reported missing in Two Rivers. While frustrating for volunteers, they continue to hold out hope, scouring parts of northeast Wisconsin looking for any sign of the little boy. And as Fox 11's Andrew Mertens reports, the mission is attracting more who want to help.
Since Elijah Vu was reported missing on February 20th, people from far and wide have been helping the Vu family search for the young boy.
Even if there was nothing, at least we're here trying to bring Elijah home.
That includes Tara Michaels, who drove nearly 4 hours with her family Sunday to do their part.
I couldn't even imagine thoughts, the family, what they're going through, or even this little boy. You don't know, and it tears you up. It's awful.
After searching in the Mishicot area, Tara and her family returned to the Mikado Theater in Manitowoc, which has been used as a hub for search efforts by the Vu family. Others, like Annette Geimer, were looking near County Road F in Manitowoc County for any sign of Elijah.
It's not just because I have children. Children need us, and they're thrown aside like they don't matter. And they do.
On Saturday, volunteer searches expanded beyond Manitowoc County. In Green Bay, roughly 50 people came together to search the Baird Creek trails.
If it were my kids that were missing, want the world looking. So I'm here to help any way I can.
Law enforcement was not involved with Saturday's search in Green Bay. It also didn't involve the Vu family, but they are appreciative of people willing to look anywhere. Sunday marked 20 days of searching for Elijah. While lots of time has passed, people are still holding out hope that they will find him.
That little boy needs all of us to look for him because he's just a little baby.
Be here and just keep looking and searching. And I know the efforts, I know people get tired, and I know the weather isn't always cooperative, but for this little boy, I mean, most of us have families, please.
In Manitowoc County, Andrew Mertens, Fox 11 News.
Smiley, do you have any updates on Sebastian or Lori today? And then the next video I want to watch is Richard Allen. It is with Vinny, of course. Sorry. Make sure you can see it. No? Okay. I was going to see if you wanted to come up and give an update if you had one. It's just sad. And the text messages are very telling in the Elijah Vu case. The conversations between the mom and is that his stepdad or his real dad? I don't even remember right now. It's just a 3-year-old does not deserve to be in boot camp. Like, what the F are y'all doing with this baby? And it had to be something gone wrong. Y'all need to say where this baby is. 3 weeks? We're not going 2.5 years like we are with Summer Wells. This baby will be found. Just like Sebastian, just like Lori Page, and just like Summer Wells.
Welcome back to Closing Arguments. I'm Julia Janae, and tonight for Vinnie Politan, we begin this hour in Delphi, Indiana, in the case against Richard Allen. He's accused of murdering 2 young girls, Abigail Williams and Liberty German. This back in February of 2017. Since then, this case has been anything but typical. We've seen accusations of leaked crime scene images, theories of a cult-like ritualistic killing, defense attorneys being kicked off the case, back on again, Supreme Court hearings, those same defense attorneys being reinstated, and much more. And just as the dust was seemingly beginning to settle, we have some more legal drama for you tonight. We begin this evening with the defense and their submitting of a motion for an early trial. Take a look. The defendant, Richard M. Allen, in this filing, his counsel says, is moving the court for an early trial date within 70 days pursuant to criminal rule in Indiana 4B1. So let's take a look at that criminal rule that they're citing in that motion. Indiana's criminal rules, criminal procedure rule, says that if a defendant is held in jail on a pending charge, like Richard Allen is, that he can move for an early trial. If such a motion is filed, a trial must be commenced no later than 70 calendar days from the date of such motion. That would be around May 15th. Now, there are exceptions to that rule. Here they are. If the delays due to congestion of the court calendar or an emergency, then the 70-day rule may be circumvented. The defendant, if he or she is moved for an early trial, is released from jail before that 70-day period expires, then there's not an issue. Or if there's an act of the defendant that delays the trial.
Look, I have an issue with this case, period. I have my own opinion on how I feel he's innocent or guilty. I'm not going to get into that. However, what I will get into is they absolutely violated his rights. He has absolutely no reason to be in a maximum security prison, even if they moved him to another one. He deserves to be in county jail, just like everyone else waiting to go to trial. Why? Why is he the only one in a maximum security prison?
Then again, 70 days can be circumvented. But here's the crucial part of all of that. If the defendant is held beyond the time limit of this section and moves for dismissal of the criminal charge, the case against the defendant must be dismissed. So in short, if we don't get the trial date that the defense is asking for and the state or the court doesn't see that there's an exception, he could be released from jail or have his charges dismissed as soon as May. Let's bring in our think tank to see what they think about this.
How do y'all
filing.
feel about
Joining
that?
us tonight.
About him possibly walking when it's around time for his trial.
From New York City, former senior homicide prosecutor and founder of the Villalona law firm. Bernardo Villalona is with us here on a Friday night. Also with us in Los Angeles, California, Deputy Public Defender for LA County, Philip Dubé, and in Washington, D.C., the attorney who represented Johnny Depp in his defamation case and fellow of the American College of Trial Lawyers, Ben Chu, is with us. So good to see you all here, the think tank on a Friday night. Bernardo, let me start with you. Is this a risky demand by the defense to say, we want this trial to start in 70 days or else?
Well, every defendant is entitled to this speedy trial. It is guaranteed by the U.S. Constitution as well as the Constitution of every state. So if Richard Allen is requesting a speedy trial and for him to, his defense team to ask for it to be sped up within the next 70 days, it must be that Richard Allen's defense team is ready to go, because I hope they don't think that the prosecution is not going to call their bluff. So they must be ready to go and have evaluated all of the evidence. The question will be, is the prosecution ready? Because even though the prosecutor, majority of times they file their charges and they answer ready, they're not ready, meaning that they're not ready to go forward with a trial. So let's see what the judge decides. And I hope that he does get a trial date within the next 70 days as he's entitled to have.
Yeah, this trial is currently slated for October, so it would move things up 5 months before they were anticipating going to trial. Philip Dubé, to Bernardo's point, do you think, based on what we've seen in this case, the filings, the way the evidence has been coming out here and there, do you think the prosecution is ready to present to a jury?
Oh, they will be. Are you kidding? This has a lot of national media attention. The last thing they're going to do is suffer a dismissal just because they didn't have their evidence and their witnesses ready to go. They have ample resources to hand deliver all the subpoenas for every single witness and get everybody into court on the day of jury selection. They'll have everybody there, I have no doubt. And there is a statutory right to a speedy trial, even in Indiana. And the remedy, when you assert that right, and the prosecution is not ready, and there is no good cause exception to continue it, is a dismissal.
Wow, a dismissal of the case, or I assume if he's let out of jail, then that would toll the clock as well. Ben Chu, what are the odds that that would happen in your opinion? We don't see that often, that a speedy trial is requested and then something happens and charges get dismissed and or the defendant gets released.
Julia, I agree. I don't think there's any chance that they're going to let him let these charges get dismissed or release him.
There's been a lot, thanks Ben for that, there's been a lot of difficulty with his being behind bars. We've got some pictures that his defense team has shown us, and they say that he's in deplorable conditions behind bars, with the possibility of him being released kind of in the air with this demand for the early trial. We want to take a minute to talk about some of those jail conditions so far. Now, since the beginning, his attorneys have been very vocal about this with their concerns regarding his treatment. These are the images that they say show him before and after his arrest that show a decline in his physical.
That's sad. That's sad. If he would be in county jail, he probably wouldn't even look like that. But the abuse that he went through in maximum security, bruh, this makes me so freaking mad.
And mental health as a result of this incarceration. Let's take a listen back to one of the former attorneys for Richard Allen. Our Court TV senior producer, Barbara McDonald, she sat down with him in a one-on-one interview. Here's what he had to say regarding the issue.
And you've handled death penalty cases. Have you ever had a pre-trial defendant treated the same way as Richard Allen?
Never. Never in my 25 years or Shremmen's 25 years have we ever had a murder client held pre-trial in a maximum security facility and then was transferred from one maximum security facility to another. He is 5'6", 120, 130 pounds. He is not a physical threat to anyone. From all accounts, he's been a model citizen because he's locked down 23 hours a day. We told the confinement officers that we wanted him unhandcuffed so we could shake his hand and maybe have him sign documents, and they weren't budging on that.
That was his former attorney, William Libretto. Some things have changed since then, some moving of Richard Allen, but there were some interesting filings that were recently made by the prosecution having to do with Allen's mental health. Prosecutors have been trying to get his psychological evaluations, his mental health records. And here's a look at their latest attempt, their third request for those records. They claim that the defense has now filed a verified ex parte motion for a hearing on funding for expert services. They want to get state funding for that. And within this motion, the state says that the defense is asking the court to approve the funding for Dr. Polly Westcott. She's a clinical psychologist, and for a confession expert. It goes on to say that it's clear from this statement and other affirmations made in that motion that the defense intends to challenge the multiple confessions that the defendant has made while incarcerated. They say it's further clear that the defense intends to make the defendant's mental health an issue in this matter. And in order to address this, the state needs to review the mental health records and have an opportunity to consult their own expert. Now, you may have noticed that the defense motion that the state cited was referred to as a verified ex parte motion, which we'll talk with our think tank about what that means. But here's what they had to file after that. They had to quickly withdraw their request after some attorneys weighed in and said, there's something unethical about that. The state was notified. This is the state withdrawing and saying that they were notified by the defense on March 7th, 2024 via email that the filing should have been sealed and that the state should not have been given access to it. Knowing that it was not intended for the state to have access to these filings, the state now withdraws its motion. So we're back to square one. Let's go to the think tank for their reaction on all of this. Ben Chu, can I start with you? Your reaction to mental health records and how important they are to be protected.
Yeah, it's extremely important, and those sealed materials should have stayed sealed, so it was perfectly appropriate for the government to withdraw that motion forthwith.
Yeah, Philip, we don't know exactly the details as to how they were able to see them, but talk about ex parte, what they should have known just from the title.
Well, what happens as a practical matter, whenever the defense has a client who may have some mental infirmities, they can get the court to appoint a psychiatric or psychological expert to evaluate the client. And everything that is said during that evaluation is actually attorney-client privilege. They are not seeing a doctor for purposes of treatment and therapy so that the psychotherapist privilege attaches, but rather they are acting as an arm of the attorney-client relationship. And absent a waiver of the attorney-client privilege or the work product privilege or the tendering of those documents, the actual reports in court, in evidence, they're off limits. They are privileged. They are inadmissible. And I must say, to the prosecution's credit, I actually hold them in high regard for withdrawing that motion, because when they saw what they did was not proper or was unethical and certainly not allowed by law, they withdrew. And that's understandable. Lawyers make mistakes all the time, even the prosecution. The good news is they at least did not get the actual substantive reports.
That's a good point. It did not get to that level. Bernardo, can you weigh in on this, your thoughts on it? But also, where's that line for these records that you can allow your attorney to see, but once a defense does get out there, do you think the prosecution will be able to see at least some of those records?
Absolutely. If the defense is going to launch any type of defense having to deal with mental health issues or the voluntariness of any statements that were made, then the prosecution is entitled to those records, because the prosecution would be entitled to also hire an expert to examine those records and to serve as a witness at the time of trial, or if there's a hearing prior to the trial. My question would be is that if the defense is going to go forward with some kind of mental health defense, then that is going to delay the trial, and that will entitle the judge to let the prosecution know that, yes, they are entitled to a delay and that it won't count against the prosecution in holding that Richard Allen must be released. Because when it comes to these defenses, they are very lengthy when it comes to examination by any mental health expert to conclude or make a conclusion at the time of trial and also even before the time of trial. That causes a lengthy delay.
Oh, that's right, Bernarda. There's that exception that if the defendant creates the delay, then they don't get the 70-day deadline. So we will see how that plays out, how this judge reacts to it. That's all the time that we have right now for this one. But there is a hearing March 18th that may discuss some of these issues. We'll, of course, bring it to you here on Court TV. But be sure to stick around. The think tank is staying with us. We've got more this hour coming up next. She claims her 2-year-old son shot her 5-year-old daughter in a tragic accident.
That's all that they had on Richard Allen. The rest were on other cases. It's 8 o'clock there right now. So let's say 9 o'clock here. 1, 12, 11, 10, 9. Would be like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning over there in Australia, Kaz. I do believe. If it starts, let's say 9 o'clock my time. So I do believe Idaho is now in my time zone. You're good at watching the replays of what you missed, so you'll be good. I just don't want you to miss the whole thing because I know that you watched every single day of Lori with me. Even when I did 2 days at one time, 12 hours, you were still there with me the whole time. Every day of Lori's Trial. I know you don't want to miss Chad's. So that's why I was going to try to help figure out how we can do this to tend to our Australia, our Aussie friends and other friends that we have in other countries to make sure that they're able to watch it with us because it is such a big case. Well, you guys, that's all that I have for you today. I might come back live later, depending how I feel on y'all. I saw Nancy Grace this morning, and the case that she was covering was high schoolers break a cold case, a serial killer case, and it's actually called the Redhead case. And Nancy herself said that she's never heard of it. And it's a really interesting story. I might come back with that tonight. If not, it'll be tomorrow. So you guys have a wonderful rest of your evening. I will have a wonderful rest of my day. And I will see you later or tomorrow. You guys have I know you do, Kaz. It's so awesome. I love that. Yes, Miley, it's a really, really interesting story. And I'll do it this afternoon, or it's so hard with the time change because it's already 5 o'clock there. You know what I mean? And it's just 2 o'clock here. So if I don't come back tonight at a reasonable time for you guys on the East Coast, then I will be back tomorrow with it. It really is an interesting story that I can't wait to show you guys. So on that note, I will see you all later or tomorrow. You have a wonderful rest of your day.